Next on BYUSN, changes are a-coming, but which changes do we expect for the BYU football defense against Liberty on Saturday?
Kody Epps and Elijah Tuiaki discussed the Cougars' defensive issues and what Hugh Freeze had to say about how big this game is for Liberty.
Oh, it's big. We're talking history for Liberty, right? More on that in a moment. Welcome to BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. It is Tuesday, October 18th. I am Spencer Linton. He is a man just returned from the Pacific Northwest, Jarom Jordan.
What's up? Yeah, I saw an 18-inning game. That was crazy. Was off my phone until that night just to fully load, and then I watched the BYU-Arkansas game, and that was a tough one. Lot to break down.
An emotional Saturday for you.
Yes, it was. And then I broke the Sabbath with the Seahawks game. It was great. On today's show, Dave McCann thinks the offense needs to score more. We'll talk about that. Big 12 plus 4 of the totally unbiased power rankings. The metrics don't like our number one as much as we do. And where do we have the Cougars in that now? And is Zach still the best Wilson playing quarterback in the NFL? Gosh, I'm glad the Seahawks got rid of Russ.
The Jets are 4-2.
Here are today's headlines.
BYU football currently a 6.5-point favorite as that Vegas line continues to be very fluid. The Cougars at Liberty this Saturday. ESPN's Football Power Index, for what it's worth, gives BYU just a 54% chance to beat the Flames. East Coast afternoon game. Have to wonder how BYU's feeling after 2 straight losses. A stoic head coach, Kalani Sitake, discussing his latest observations of the BYU football overall with the media yesterday.
I'm focused on trying to get our guys to play much better and execute better, and that's the focus. I was pleased with how the offense played. Obviously, there's some things they can fix and get better. Not pleased with the defense, and that's from technique, fundamentals, assignments, and all that.
Well, I tell you what's not going to help the BYU defense. Linebacker Peyton Wilgard, doubtful, had to leave the Arkansas game early with an apparent injury, was wearing a boot on the sideline. There is good news on the offensive side for the running backs room, however. Miles Davis and Lopini Katoa both expected to make their return and play for BYU in Lynchburg.
Cougars in the NFL on Monday Night Football. Michael Davis, Kyle Van Noy of the Chargers beat the Broncos 19-16 in overtime. Just compelling and rich stuff from Denver.
Why are the Broncos in primetime every week?
Because it was predetermined. Van Noy had a TFL, another tackle. Davis had 2 tackles as well.
Following a 5-set loss to Pacific, the BYU women's volleyball team drops to number 17. Amazingly, this ties the lowest or worst ranking, if you will, that BYU has ever had under current head coach Heather Olmstead in 8 seasons. They've never been below number 17.
That's crazy, right? Big game at San Diego Friday night. Spencer's ranked number 4. We'll talk about that later. And women's soccer news after a 4-1 win versus previously undefeated Portland. How about that? Brecken Mozingo, Offensive Player of the Week after a brace Saturday. Savannah Mason, the Defensive Player of the Week. And the AP poll in women's hoops just came out. No WCC representation in that with Gonzaga or BYU or other, although BYU did receive 4 votes, so 12 out of the AP poll. For a lot of people who probably have no idea what BYU lost last year. BYU probably shouldn't receive any votes for the top 25.
They were so good last year,
and that's
clearly going to be amazing this year.
Yeah, and that's fair. BYU will climb into its respect place by earning it this year.
Well, BYU women's soccer, speaking of rankings, those numbers come out later today. You can expect the women to jump back into the top 25. They were the first team out last week. Just beat number 14 convincingly. BYU women's soccer will be back in the poll.
Like weird when they're not ranked.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending, presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. Clearly, BYU football, well, they're hunkering down, getting back to work, and looking for drastic changes so that they can avoid a performance similar to what was put on the field against Arkansas. 644 total yards, pains me to say it, 52 points. They've got a lot to prove, Jarom. This is a massive week.
Luckily, BYU's playing Liberty.
Oh my! No.
BYU's not playing an SEC team or Notre Dame or in Oregon this week.
Well, so it's weighted luck, right? Because they're given just a 54% chance of ESPN's Football Power Index to go across the country in an afternoon game, Eastern time zone, and win against a team that is ultra motivated.
Early hot take: Liberty's 6-1, one loss by 1 point at Wake. BYU's going to win handily at Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about today. That's my early hot take on this game.
We are talking about the trend that BYU has shown on defense specifically, and that's not good either, which probably has the line where it is. BYU just a 6.5-point favorite, right? Because the defense is trending the wrong way.
He's covering easy.
Elisa Tuiaki knows the expectations after back-to-back losses are not being met, and that fans carry much higher expectations for this BYU football defense than what was shown on Saturday. Listen to this.
You can go round and round about what should have been done differently, who should have been playing. You know, this guy. The bottom line is we got to be better, and it starts from the top, and it starts with myself and the coaches, and whatever the answer is, we've got to find a way.
What is the answer? Is my question following that soundbite. Whatever the answer is, we need to find a way. Well, what is the answer? I'll give you a couple of things I think need to happen. BYU needs to simplify the defense. And by simplify, I'm not just talking just scheme overall. I'm talking less players on the field. I talked about this last week.
So you don't like the line changes?
No, I don't. I don't like it. I don't feel like...
You hate hockey.
I do not hate hockey. I have much love for the sport of hockey, respect it for sure. But I do not like the methodology of playing essentially 25 guys on defense.
So less freshness, more continuity.
Yes. I want BYU's best players on the field and executing a more simple scheme so that they can get into the rhythm and the flow of the game. And here's why. Because it's not working right now.
Yeah.
It's not working. Mm-hmm. It hasn't worked, we think, since the Baylor game. The Baylor game happened in week 2. Guess what? Teams adapt. They figure out how to attack BYU's defense based on what they were doing, and it's not going well for BYU. So clearly, 644 total yards. We looked at the numbers yesterday, and again, painful to even put those numbers on the screen, but BYU, in terms of rushing yards allowed per game, points allowed per game, those things are the worst they've been since 2001, more than 20 years ago. And you and I have talked about as good as that 2001 team was on offense.
Bad defense.
The defense was terrible.
They had some really good players, but it was bad defense.
This is a bad defense.
Because the offense was too good.
Gennaro Guilford's like, oh, man, like I did what I could. Our defense was not good that year, right?
They had some notable guys on that team, though, which is funny, though.
Simplify the defense, both in scheme and in the number of players that are on the field. Okay. 25 guys.
Roughly 11 would be nice.
Too many. At one point last week in the third quarter, in the red zone, with BYU trailing by 3, I believe it was 38-35, I looked at who was on the field, and I was shocked. No Peyton Wilgar, no Max Tooley, no Keenan Peely, no Talon Alfrey, who was the starting safety, all those guys on the sideline.
Talon was a backup who has become a starter.
And now he's become the starter, right? Obviously, no Malik Moore. But this is taking nothing away from the guys that are on the field. I believe that they are capable at some point to make plays and do the right thing. Right now, I feel like there's too much youth, too many injuries to continue to play as many as 25 guys on defense.
Why is it on defense only, by the way? Like, why isn't it on offense? Wouldn't the same rule apply? Like, oh, we want fresh guys. I've not thought about that till right now.
You bring up a great question. I don't know.
Why isn't it like, all right, Braden Keim, you're in at left tackle? Like, wait, what? No, it's Blake Freeland, right?
Yeah.
And the guys, and maybe it's not just a freshness thing, which that is the answer. That's why I asked Elisa Tuiaki this in preparation for the Idaho State game last year, and it was like, walk me through the strategy there, and it was, we value someone who's at 100% coming off the bench versus someone who's down to maybe 60% because they're tired on that drive. It's the 8th play. You know, we've given up some chunk plays. It's not working. Also, I want to see, a different look or whatever from a different guy.
It's an analytics thing. Like, if you have fresh legs on the field, you'll be better this much percent.
Well, that makes sense, right? But your backup's not going to be as good as your starter. That's why he's the backup.
Well, now your 4th and 3rd strings aren't as good as your 2nd stringers.
And again, love these guys, but we haven't seen the best play out of certain individuals that we expected them to be very good.
And they can become good. I just think it's too soon. It's too soon right now.
Is it? It's been 7 games, Spence.
No. What I'm saying is, like, leave your second teamer on the field for most of the time.
Oh, I'm talking about certain starters. Like,
sure.
Love Keenan Peely. Maybe that knee's not as good as it was last year. Like, maybe he's battling through that and he's not going to say publicly. I don't know. Like, we expect Keenan Peely to be this really good middle linebacker, and I think he is. Just, it's been a struggle team-wide. Like, my main issue with BYU's defense historically, Spence, is the lack of a pass rush from the defensive line itself. That was Kalani's calling card. And Elisa Tuiaki's at Utah was, hey, look at this. We've got 4 dudes. We can get a pass rush. We don't need to blitz per se. And now it's like, well, shoot, is BYU just it's most effective if the quarterback struggles in drop 8 zone? Like, is it that simple? Because it can't be that easy. So that's really tough. So then you look at the defensive coordinator. A lot of heat coming at Elias Tuiaki right after last week. Which, by the way, did we have this same rhetoric after the Toledo game in 2016?
Yeah. Well,
because BYU won, we weren't as worried about it?
No, but we had this rhetoric after the Toledo and USF games in 2019, which is when Kalani Sitake stepped in and said, I got to do some things with the defense.
When you lose, things change. We didn't do this in 2016. Like, had BYU won, we would have been like, well, BYU won, so we're good, right? It's like, no. And we've seen other trends, right? We're playing into a lot of this. Kalani Sitake was asked in the press conference if he feels pressure to make a change at defensive coordinator. Here's what he said.
I feel pressure on everything, so that's just that's his job. And that's the expectations of our fans are high, and I don't have a problem with it. So if you're acting specifically on that one, there's when you're giving up that many points and that many yards, then there has to be, that's the level of accountability. There has to be pressure on all of us, and that's my job as head coach.
I will be surprised if Kalani Sitake is not calling the play Saturday.
Or at least heavily involved. At least heavily involved.
Well, of course he'll be heavily involved.
Sure.
But I believe he'll call the plays. And BYU will not tell you publicly if he's calling the plays.
Not their style.
You just watch him on the sideline. If he's way more, if he's holding a card on the sideline, then you'll know.
They've never done that in the past. They've never made it public.
Yes, they didn't in 2019 when Aaron Roderick started calling it.
Until
but that
after
happened.
the season.
Well, even then they didn't really say it, but we're telling you it happened, right, for Boise State. I believe that will happen. You need a spark. You need to either switch the coaches, switch the players, switch the scheme, or then fire the coaches.
Maybe all three of those.
That's the order. But fire the coach right now, it's too soon for me.
No. BYU's 4-3.
If another game or two of this happens, if BYU lose 4 in a row, then it happens.
The adaptability of the
quick to make
coaches
that
is a
call
thing.
right now.
Everybody in that room, in that coach's room, by nature of being a coach, you have to have an ego and a strong personality and believe that my way works the best way. This is what happens. Ed Lamb's been a head coach. He's an assistant head coach right now. Strong opinion. Kalani Sitake is the head coach. Strong opinions. Elias Tuiaki's been the defensive coordinator for a long time. Strong opinions. This is what you have to adapt. And sometimes, your strong opinion has to take a backseat to the head coach, and we feel like Kalani Sitake is going to be the guy making the call this week.
Undoubtedly.
Sure. It kind of has to be, right?
I thought that was assumed.
It has to be.
He's the head coach. I thought that was assumed.
Well, Elias Tuiaki says the reevaluation, including his role and the players' roles of everything, is what happens when you go through a loss like BYU had to Arkansas. Listen to this.
When you have games like that, from top to bottom, you've got to look at who's doing what role are you asked to do, are you going to change your role? Our players are always scrutinized for the way that they play, and changes are made. And so for us as coaches, we got to look at it as well and just figure out, do roles need to change, and are we on board?
Roles for the coaches, roles for the players.
Roles, what is it, roads, bacon, surf? Get them out for everybody. This is a situation where Kalani has said that, Elias has said that. I think they're telling us that Kalani's going to call the plays this week in a roundabout way. I believe that's what they're saying. I don't know that. I have not heard that. I believe that based on what they're saying. And it's so obvious. Kalani was this amazing defensive coordinator at that school up north. Why wouldn't he inject that level of the boss is going to hang out with us now type of energy that everyone can relate to at their job?
He doesn't want to do this, clearly.
Correct.
He stated it publicly several times. I don't want to do that. I want to delegate and just be the head coach.
He wants to win. Lavelle didn't step in and actually coach the offense or the defense. You know what I mean? He had his coordinators do it. That's what a good head coach does. Certain head coaches want to still call the plays on offense. There are head coaches in the NFL who still do this. But in this case, Kalani is going to, I believe, step in this Saturday. And it starts yesterday. It starts Sunday. It starts Saturday night, where the game planning is going on today. You put last week away. You're game planning for Liberty today, and he is going to run a lot of that. This doesn't mean that Elias Tuiaki is just literally cleaning toilets like he said he would if he was asked, right, as a willing servant of the defense.
Sure.
But Kalani Sitake is going to be the one that on Saturday, I believe, is calling those plays.
Fundamentals and execution is what we've been hearing for the last 5 weeks. Just basic mistakes, basic breakdowns. You know what? They're going to simplify the defense. They're going to focus on the most basic of things, just getting players in the right position. And then if Liberty has a better player that makes a one-on-one move that beats you in that position, at least you're in the right position and they beat you. BYU, unfortunately, has had several players in the wrong position several times.
That feels odd, Spence. Like, that's the most basic thing. Can you imagine if I sat over there? Or, okay, right here. Yep. I sat right here. It's like, why am I not in the right spot? Of course I got to be right here. I got to mark our producer, Ben Bagley, who's coaching me to sit right here. Why wouldn't I sit right here?
As boring as it is, as cliche and as boring as it sounds. Right?
Okay. Hey, camera's following me. Nice.
Got to be assignment sound. Got to be assignment sound. We hate that. Oh, assignment sound. Oh, we hear it all the time.
It feels like a high school
BYU
turn in your worksheets. Be assignment sound.
This is according to the coaches. This is not Spencer and Jarom sitting here saying, oh, BYU is not assignment sound. This is the coaches and the players and the position coaches saying, we are not assignment sound and have not been for essentially 5 weeks.
Put the fun back in fundamentals. That's what I say.
Let's go.
And as my dad, who works for a funeral home, said, put the fun back in funeral. Okay, Kalani was also asked how he will judge growth in the defense in the next 5 weeks.
Great question.
I like some tough times, you know. You grow the most through adversity, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to what it filters out, you know. So it could filter out quite a bit in the program and even outside. But with that being said, we've been through some adversity before, and we've bounced back. BYU football will bounce back to what our identity is and what you know we can hang our hat on.
What is BYU's identity?
That's a great question.
Like what? I'm not sure what it is on
typically,
defense.
it's hard-nosed, physical, assignment-sound football.
And stop the run. That's BYU's built on stop the run. And then I know we don't like the phrase, but bend, don't break.
What's BYU this year? 118th in rush defense so far this season.
No bueno.
Out of 131 teams, 118.
Okay, our question of the day, and I want to get to this. What changes do you expect to be made to the BYU defense?
Okay, so I've already mentioned a few of them. What do you got?
3. 1, defensive success rate. So what that means is you got to, on first down, you got to prevent the team from getting 50% of the yards required for first down. Then on second, 70%, and third is on.
Then you're 100. Not having 12 for 15 third down conversion.
Yes. BYU is 48% right now, 8th worst in FBS. So be better on first and second down. You get off the field on third down because BYU is 10th worst in the country in third down conversions allowed. In the last 2 weeks, 23 of 31. Third one, takeaways, only 7 this year. That's 99.
Well, and Liberty takes the ball away a ton.
They have 18. They are number 1 in the country. If BYU doesn't give it away on Saturday, wins by 10 plus. Okay? And then the other is, if you have to, you switch coaches, switch players, switch scheme, fire coaches. Like, those are the 4 in order to me. I believe that BYU will exercise option 1 this week, which is Kalani Sitake will call the plays on defense.
And Kalani Sitake has worked closely with Eli Satuyaki for a long time. Sometimes there are a lot of opinions going around, and people are influenced by this. And so it's almost like too many chefs in the kitchen. Simplify things.
Yeah.
Let's simplify things and see how BYU responds to
What if BYU was like, you know what we're doing this week? We're making it crazy complex. That's what it always comes back to.
Play fast.
Simplify.
It's like simple so you can play fast and just be in the right position because you don't have a ton to think about, right? It's come to that.
I thought this team was so experienced they could handle a little more, though. It's the same team
and so
from
do the
last
coaches,
year.
for sure, which is why they're going to the line changes and putting a ton of players. This is the deepest team we've seen, right? So it's understandable why they wanted to play a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you learn the hard way. And as Kalani said, adversity can sometimes bring about great things. I said this yesterday. It stinks in the moment. But when you bottom out like BYU did against Arkansas, sometimes the changes that will come from that can be a wonderful thing.
Hey, bottoming out was UMass at home in 2017. So just a little bit of perspective.
Sorry, in this season.
Yes.
I believe that BYU has bottomed out this season.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
And we can talk more about that.
It's not going to get worse than this, we hope.
Yeah, we hope. Oh, let's hear from you in Voice of the
Dramatic
Nation.
Squirrel.
We've talked about the changes we expect to see from BYU football against Liberty. What do you expect in terms of changes from the BYU defense, specifically when they hit Lynchburg? We hear from Bryson Denny on Instagram first.
Bryson!
I expect Liberty's third down conversion rate to be lower than 50%. Defense needs to get off the field.
Hey, it needs to be like in the 30s. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Like, if it's near 50, if it's 48%, that's bad. Like, BYU's 47%, 10th worst in America.
I understand what he's coming from, because it's 80% against Arkansas. He's like, Kalani said yesterday, even if it were like 8 of 15 against Arkansas, it's a totally different game that BYU plays against the Razorbacks.
Now BYU only loses by 7 instead of 17.
Under 50%? I get it. I get it why he went there. Under 40% would be amazing. Cut it in half.
BYU's winning Saturday. They just are.
If BYU can hold Liberty to 6 for 15 on third down, now we're talking. You're just buying. You're not afraid of anything. Eastern time zone.
Hey,
afternoon game, Liberty.
When you're playing your third-string quarterback, it's going to be all right.
All right.
BYU football with Kalani Sitake airs tonight, 7:30 Eastern time on the BYUtv app. Greg Wrubell and the coach, Chase Roberts in the film room with Spence, and a new Deep Blue on Max Hall.
What if Charlie Brewer comes back to play for the Flames?
That would be ideal.
Up next, longtime BYUtv sports broadcast extraordinaire, Dave McCann in studio. He's got a different take on what BYU needs going forward. It has very little to do with the defense. This is BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at BYU.edu today.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
Let's kick off AFR on BYUtv.
What they did in that fourth quarter was not unexpected in my book.
Everyone did their job perfectly, and it resulted in, obviously, a touchdown.
Who knew that he had these kind of hands?
And right at the snap of the football, they both go right downhill. And that was the end of that. He knocked him down pretty quickly.
I like those vibes because as much negativity as there is surrounding the BYU defense, the wide receivers and Jaron Hall have put on a show this season.
Oh, yeah, man.
We are live at Studio B with your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I'm Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. It is now our privilege to welcome in one of our longtime colleagues, all-around good guy, Dave McCann, who he likes some offense as well from BYU.
You got the memo with black
I
pants?
have to be here on sweatshirt day, although I'm not going to the same funeral as the two of you.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
we're feeling a little bit down, Dave.
I was off yesterday, but I wear black after a big loss. I just do. It's how I feel.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, I brought some color in the shoes at least, right?
Yeah, there's some color there.
Some color in the shoes.
And your colorful personality. Yeah, exactly.
Dave, I love what you wrote yesterday, and so I'd like to start there if you don't mind.
You know, everyone's talking about the defense.
Yes.
And as I mentioned in that article in the Deseret News, their defense has got to fix some things, and you guys have been talking about it already in the show. But the key moving forward is offense. There were two games on Saturday. There was the one where BYU couldn't get off the field, and that's the one we were focused on. You know, one third down after the other. The second game that I noticed was Arkansas allowed Jaron Hall a career day in passing and threw 3 touchdowns and gave up 35 points, and they could care less. They came to score 52, score more points, and go home. And they'd give up points on defense, and the defense like, okay, well, now we're going to go off. There was no wailing and gnashing of teeth. Like, I can't believe we just gave Puka another touchdown. So I'm watching them, and I'm watching us. They're in the SEC. They're a P5. We're going to become a P5 and go into the Big 12. The shootouts are what's in the future. So while these things got to be fixed on defense for this season, and the defense has to be better moving forward, if the offense has to score 53 points to win a game, they have to score 53 points to win a game. And you know what? 3 teams out of the 4 games in the Big 12, 3 teams scored 40 or more last week and got beat. The SEC, 4 games of the 6, the losing team scored 35 or more. That's where football is now. It's how many points can you score?
Well, I'll give you this. 2 turnovers by BYU. The unfortunate snap situation where Joe Tukuafu was not supposed to even snap the ball. Like BYU's planning to punt. Yeah. The hard count, snaps the ball, and they recover on the 35-yard line, whatever it was, go and score a touchdown, and then an interception, and they go and score a touchdown.
And what that did,
10.
that shifted the balance of you score, we score. Because that's the way that game was going.
And KJ Jefferson makes Eli Manning Super Bowl-like play.
Yes.
He escapes 3 or 4 guys. Like, that was a crazy play. BYU's got to tackle that guy. It is interesting, Dave, because I agree in the Big 12, obviously it's known for shootouts and whatnot. I just wonder if you don't turn the ball over, like BYU's been pretty good at it, and you make one more stop, it's a different kind of day. But
just one stop.
So the defense doesn't have to be like great or even good. They just need to be better, probably by like a possession or 2.
I heard Nick Saban say after the Tennessee game, they gave up 51 points. This is Alabama. There's no shortage of 5 stars on their defense. They win all the time. And he said in the post-game press conference, he goes, we just needed one stop. We just need to get one stop. It wasn't, I got to fire my coordinator. I can't believe we gave up all these yards. Tennessee's got good athletes. This is what they do. What I thought is we were good enough to get one stop, and they didn't get the stop, and they lose by 3 points.
And I love that he didn't blame the officials, because everybody knows, every Alabama fan's like, oh!
There's a pass interference call late in that game, right?
No, Nick Saban wasn't blaming the officials. He was looking at one stop.
It's the mentality. You go back to the Notre Dame game. As bad as the defense played on 3rd down, they handed the ball to Jaron Hall in the 4th quarter, down by 5 to go win the game. Offense scores, wins the game. We're having a totally different conversation. We're talking about, gee, can we get to the top 10 this week? Because we'd have had a little more momentum going into Arkansas. I don't think we would have stopped Arkansas. We slammed on our own brakes, and then they left us in their dust. But it was this. And that's life in the Big 12. And so BYU's got to recruit heavy on receivers. They're in great shape going in next year. They got to recruit a quarterback that can throw it and have the gusto to do it. They've got to make play calling gusto-driven, not conservative-driven. And that's just on the offense. But if we scored 53 points on Saturday, we'd be having a totally different conversation. And it's like unfair to put that on the offense. But if the other team scores 52, you've got to score 53.
And in 2016, we did not complain about the defense like this.
55-53, the Toledo game,
We did not complain about.
That was a fantastic game for Jamal Williams. That's what we talk about.
Yes, 5 touchdowns, 286. Like, it was incredible. I'm interested to see, moving forward, what BYU does. Obviously, the X's and O's part you'll break down on after further review tonight, which I'm excited about. But I said I won't be surprised, and I expect Kalani Sitake to call the plays on Saturday on defense. I just think we're to that point where obviously he's going to be heavily involved, like we talked about, but I expect him to have a card on the sideline making the calls.
And you know what? Where did he learn that? He learned that from Kyle Whittingham. And Kyle Whittingham would be doing the same exact thing. And if the Utes have a bad day on defense, is he not in those meetings? Kalani learned from Kyle how to be a head coach / quasi-defensive guy. He wants to be like Lavelle because Lavelle's a legend. Lavelle wasn't always that way, but as he matured, he goes, I'm going to let my coaches coach, and I'll manage the big decisions. But, you know, if you're talking about offense, you're talking about Mike Holmgren and Doug Scoville and some of those guys. These aren't those guys. And I think it's on the head coach to do that. That's why he's the head coach. I have no problem with, it's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of, oh, the wheels are off. It's a sign of the expert is getting involved in an area that needs an identity. And Kalani can give them an identity, if nothing else on passion alone. just like Bronco did when he fired the defensive coordinator and he took over. This isn't that kind of situation. BYU's not 1-4. They're 4-3 with a win over a top 10 team moving forward. But it's the mindset of, I think BYU comes out looking to take somebody apart on Saturday because of Kalani's involvement, and I'll be surprised if that doesn't happen.
They need some caffeine.
And you are
Kalani's the caffeine.
You are similar to Jarom in the idea that this whole Eastern time zone, playing at Liberty, where they're talking about making history, and it's the biggest home game in program history, and Hugh Freeze is riling up his guys. You feel like this is it's too much. Like you're
the East Coast thing is a thing, but under these circumstances, I think the current circumstances negate the East Coast thing. And
the afternoon.
And Liberty needed a touchdown in the fourth quarter to beat Gardner-Webb.
FCS.
Last week.
They don't have a great, they're 6-1. They have a horrible schedule. The one loss was a good battle against Wake Forest, who's up number 14.
Two-point
so they can fight.
Failed, or they win that game when they're 7-0.
They're into their third quarterback, which, could be good, could be what, but they're playing a team that's going to the Big 12. That team should show up, line up, be ticked off.
We're playing a team that's going into Conference USA.
That's right. Be ticked off and execute. And with Kalani's involvement and the madness coming out of these last two games, I think that will be enough for BYU to show up. And this is, I'm sure Liberty was cheering for BYU to beat Arkansas.
Well, Liberty's going to get Arkansas later this year, too.
November 5th.
They're going to get the different attitude coming back of, and I think it's a good week for BYU to be on the road, away from everything, to go, what are we? What is our identity? And when you have a leader like Jaron on offense, you can get points. Offense is relatively healthy. They'll get a couple running backs back, it sounds like, but I don't even care about that. Throw the darn football and throw it to your 6 receivers no one can guard. And do what you did against Arkansas with Puka Nacua, which you didn't do against Notre Dame. Hand him off the ball, have him take direct snaps, throw it to him as many times as possible. Because you know what he does?
He makes plays.
He makes plays. And then he rallies the other guys to start making plays.
Well, and I'll say this. I know a lot's been said about fatigue and fresh legs. Puka was like, dude, I'm so tired after the game. When I was talking to him, I'm so tired, but I wasn't about to come off the field. You know what? Good things happen when that guy's on the field. So leave your best players on the field, even if they're tired, because good things happen when they're on the field.
Right, and I'm not a defensive expert, so I'll just say this quietly. Leave your best defensive guys on the field.
I brought this up. It is a defensive philosophy for BYU. It's not on offense.
Yeah.
I know those are different sides of the ball, but, okay, with Liberty, I think if BYU does not turn the ball over, there's no way BYU loses. Because Liberty is plus 28 points off turnovers.
This is wild.
They turn it over a ton, too, by the way. They have 18 takeaways, 16 giveaways. The BYU defense has not been opportunistic. The offense has done a great job of holding onto the ball for the most part, right? Only, 5 giveaways, 7 takeaways for BYU. Hey, win the turnover battle, and you win handily. Even if it's even, I think BYU wins handily because third-string quarterback. Yes, it's going to be the first crowd they've ever had that's 23,000 plus. Stadium's 25, by the way. I think
there'll be a few
Cougar Nation's going to show up despite the what's going on right now. But this week, Dave, is going to tell us a lot about this team because they have to win, obviously. And
massive game.
They are going to show up and win the game. I believe this team's going to go, okay, you know what our 3 losses are? Respectable. Obviously, Notre Dame lost to Stanford. That looked bad. You could have won that game. But Oregon and Arkansas are not losses where you go, oh, my gosh. It was the way it happened against Arkansas, not because it was Arkansas.
It's almost the opposite this week. BYU sells out their stadium. It's a huge game. The SEC's never would come here but one other time. Arkansas had never been here before. They were number 10 in the country 3 weeks ago.
BYU was 12 5 weeks ago.
Right, BYU was 12. And jets flew over and all the pageantry, and it was such a big
homecoming, white-out crowd.
And
chocolate cougar tails.
And it was a win here. It gets us back in the top 20, all those things. And I was listening to Hugh Freeze's comments yesterday to his team, selling the same thing to Liberty. The thing is, Arkansas was better than BYU, and it showed. BYU's better than Liberty, and it has to show. If it doesn't, then I'm going to come back on this show next week wearing a black shirt like you guys. And we'll be talking about basketball.
Yes. Like, hey, Idaho State coming up November 7th.
Well said, Dave. Thanks for being with us.
We're going to have a good AFR. It's group therapy
review.
tonight, kind of like this.
Yes.
And
we know it all too well.
The sky's not falling. It's a long season, and we got beat by 2 teams. One's better than us. The other we should have beaten, but didn't. And that's life. So the beauty of it is there's another Saturday.
Let's go.
And we're in it. We're in it because we love it.
Okay, 7 Eastern tonight. After further review, the guys break down the X's and O's. What's going on defense? We expect David Nixon and Blaine and, of course, Dave to explain it all tonight. Dave saved the best answers for that show coming up later.
Up next, is Zach still the best Wilson at quarterback in the National Football League?
Wilson!
Jets got a better record than the Broncos, I'll tell you that. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Wilson!
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Dexter & Dexter is a full-service law firm offering a wide range of legal services. Since 1995, we have helped more than 20,000 Utahns both to navigate life's challenges and to make the most of life's opportunities. From accidents to wills, from bankruptcy to business law, we are passionate about shouldering your burdens. To learn more about scheduling a no-obligation consultation, visit dexterlaw.com.
Introducing the Truck for Adventure. The all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier doesn't compromise on power or comfort. This midsize truck was redesigned to incorporate the latest technology and designs for safety, comfort, and convenience. Plus, with up to 6,700 pounds of towing capacity and best-in-class horsepower, it's rugged enough for adventure and still safe enough to transport all your favorite people. Where's your new Frontier? You'll find it at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
Life is full of competition. It helps measure progress, pushes us to improve, and whoops, it can be a whole lot of fun. BYUtv has its own kind of competition shows where sportsmanship rules, teamwork wins, and good character triumphs.
I wasn't just going to leave you there.
Whether it's about families competing or life lessons being taught, you'll want your family to see it together. Download the free BYUtv app today.
Make sure to follow BYU Sports Nation on social media for highlighted content throughout the day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
I didn't realize this was a wake with all of our dark clothing here today. Dave pointed that out.
I literally wear black the next show on purpose. Like if there's a big loss, it's just how I mourn that loss.
I just cycle through whatever's next in my closet. Like, oh, I haven't worn this, so I'm going to wear this.
You're like a machine that way.
It's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, you're the BCS when it comes to what you're wearing that day.
Cycle it through.
I use the eye test. I'm feeling this one.
Sometimes there's situational awareness applied, right? Sometimes. Oh. Like with the navy and blue last week, right? And the navy and blue basketball uniforms. Sometimes you throw in a little wrinkle there.
Yeah, the eye test. I'm using what I feel as opposed to what the metrics tell me.
Let's whip it. More clothing discussion. Cougar Whip Round presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Is Zatch still the best Wilson QB in the NFL?
Okay.
Because we thought so last week, right?
Yeah, yes. His team is much better than the Broncos team for sure.
Which is wild.
If we're being completely fair, like if you put Russell Wilson with the Jets defense, they'd still be 4-2. They would still be 4-2.
I think so.
Right?
They're not pushing the ball down the field at all.
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
No, it's been a minute. I walked,
True.
Yeah, literally
it's close.
Sunday, I walked by a massive display.
It's close.
At Lumen Field.
Zach has a better team in the NFL than Russell Wilson has right now.
Which is wild. The Jets are improving, which is great.
He's 3-0 as a starter. He made some plays. He's been clutch in the fourth quarter, which I guess, and that, on that note, yes, Zach's been more clutch than Russell Wilson in the NFL right now, so he's got a case.
Okay, Zach's only played 3 games, right? But his QBR would be 4th in the NFL at 73.9.
Okay.
Russ is 35.8. By the way,
there you go.
And Zach can still improve. He's only got 1 touchdown pass and 2 total touchdowns in those 3 games. Only sacked 5 times in 3 weeks, by the way.
Defense is
taking
awesome.
care of the ball. He's finding Breece Hall for nice completions. He's getting down the field. Elijah Moore's complaining. He wants the ball more, blah, blah, blah. Right now, Zach Wilson's a better quarterback in the NFL than Russell Wilson. It's like the way they're playing this season.
Wild.
And thank you, John Snyder and Pete Carroll, for getting rid of Russ in the offseason because, gosh, that's a great move.
Liberty Football tweeted out this video yesterday of their head coach, Hugh Freeze, discussing history in the making with his team.
I'm going to be dead straight with you, and I debated on exactly what to say about this, but for those of you who are lucky enough, and I said lucky enough, for those of you who are lucky enough to play in this game Saturday night, you're getting ready to make history. It is, without a doubt, the biggest home football game this program's ever had. I came to this school for moments like this. You came to this school for moments like this. Every hotel in town is sold out. The stadium is sold out. You'll be on national TV. It is a big game. You don't approach it any different as far as preparation, but there's no hiding from this fact, and you are lucky and fortunate if you get to prepare to play in it. And I want you to embrace that, but at the same time, you must earn it.
Okay, you're about to make history. Sellout game.
Yeah, if you
biggest
win.
game at home in program history.
They've hosted Syracuse before. This is probably big.
Jarom, is there any concern about BYU?
No.
Walking into a hornet's nest and being Liberty's Super Bowl?
Certainly BYU's vulnerable right now. They are.
Yes.
But I don't see a Jaron Hall-led BYU team losing this game. I just don't. Well, the defense sticks. Liberty turns it over a lot. They give it away 16 times this year. They take it away 18 times. Take care of the ball, no problem, man.
BYU has not lost a game when they have been the favorite this season. They are the favorite.
That is right.
They are the favorite going into Liberty by 6.5 points.
And if BYU wasn't, then yes, then you make changes.
Okay. I think the line was even. Maybe it was Arkansas by 1 when it finally started. But BYU, the point is, BYU has held true as the favorite.
Yes. I've dug into Liberty. I watched the Gardner-Webb game. Granted, FCS, I know. I should watch the Wake Forest game, too, to see their best stuff. But I'm not that concerned, man. Okay, volleyball falls to 17. Plays at San Diego. Was ranked 4th this week, Spence. Under Heather Olmstead, BYU's never been ranked lower, meaning or worse, than 17.
Oh, 17!
Will that streak remain intact
so bad
this week?
You know what? I think BYU actually is going to slide a little further down the rankings. Here's why. Because they have to play at San Diego.
In the Slim Jim, Jenny Craig Pavilion.
Is the number 4 team in the country. It's a road contest. I just think it's too much to ask BYU to go and win at San Diego to maintain a better, hold or get better in the rankings. So, they're going to drop a few spots. Not a ton because they lose to number 4, probably. But, 19. They'll probably drop a couple of spots, and that's okay.
Odds are they lose.
It's okay.
If you win, you go way
amazing,
up.
Awesome.
You go to
awesome.
12 again.
Yes.
Where you were. But, yes, BYU really on November 22nd, they need to beat San Diego at home.
Rails
are loaded.
Got to have the split.
By the way, huge match Friday night.
The Big 12 announced a partnership with an independent creative agency, translation with the purpose to contemporize the brand and scale its national relevance to appeal to a younger, more diverse audience. Okay, so they partner with this group.
A more diverse audience in the Big 12. Interesting.
Jeremy, how would you make the Big 12 cooler and more appealing to a diverse audience?
I have no idea. This is not my job. Whatever the Pac-12 did, do the opposite.
Yes. Well said. More social media.
I don't know.
This is the way. More social media.
Hey, if you're good at something, never do it for free. The Joker said that.
More social media. Yeah. This is the way
more
for more social media.
Hey, tomorrow we got a 2-hour BYU Sports Nation special. Men's Basketball Media Day. Yo, Mark Pope, Gideon George, Rudy Williams, and others will join the program 12 to 2 Eastern Time.
Plus, up next, how far did BYU football fall in our new Big 12 plus 4 power ranking? Completely unbiased. We'll discuss it next on BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
BYU Food to Go's convenient location at 2191 North Canyon Road in Provo makes bringing popular BYU foods to your next event easy. Everything's ready when you need it at the drive and load pickup. You drive in and they load no matter the weather. And stop in the on-site creamery for great BYU chocolate milk and ice cream. BYU Food to Go, bringing campus to your table. Call for details, 801-422-5001.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history. There is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
We know you aren't fair weather fans. And neither are we. Watch on our free BYUtv app. Rain or shine.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation, live from the Studio Bizzle, the new version of the Studio Bizzle. And it is time for our totally unbiased Big 12 plus 4 power rankings. There's been another change at the top, Jarom. The Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University hold the #1 spot.
They have like a weird hand thing where they like where the blood shoots out of the eyes or whatever. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, they're the #1 team. They beat Oklahoma State.
They're the #1 team.
Best team in the Big 12 plus 4 power rankings right now, followed by Kansas State.
Okay.
Texas up to #3. Oklahoma State drops all the way to #4 after that loss to TCU.
Yep.
Cincinnati, UCF, BYU holding steady at 7 in spite of the loss to Arkansas.
I put BYU lower.
Okay. How low do you have BYU?
9 or 10. I haven't thought about it. But 9 or 10.
Okay. Oklahoma, 1 spot behind BYU, which is just bonkers. And then Kansas, oh, how the Jayhawks have fallen.
Kansas.
Okay, they lost to Oklahoma.
Jalen Daniels got hurt.
And they're an underdog again this week. Like they're in danger of losing their 3rd consecutive game, all against
because they lost their quarterback.
More than capable.
What would BYU be like?
We have Jaron Hall.
Yeah.
West Virginia, Baylor, Texas Tech, Iowa State at 13, and Houston in the bottom spot right now. Okay, what are your biggest changes in this?
Few thoughts. So again, I go F+, Sagarin, FEI, Beta Rank, ESPN, FPI, SP+, K Ford. I combine these and make what I call a super ranking.
That's a lot.
So basically, TCU is 32 in that, which would be 9th in the super ranking in the league, which is crazy, right? Again, it takes into account all kinds of things, how you play.
Just look what they've done head-to-head, though,
I agree that they're #1. They just went to Kansas and won, who was hot at the time, just beat Oklahoma State at home. By the way, Max Duggan, backup quarterback. That's tremendous. Kansas State is rocking. Kansas State is up there, man, and they deserve it. Texas, the metrics, love Texas. Like Beta Rank, FPI, SP+, K Ford, 5th or 6th in the country.
Okay, they lost to Texas Tech. So explain that one.
On the road, OT.
Just a weird game?
Yeah, on the road,
weird
OT.
No Quinn Ewers?
No Quinn Ewers. Yeah, exactly.
Different team with Quinn Ewers as the quarterback.
Oklahoma State is #1 in the super ranking in the league. So they could be higher. We have them at 4. They lost in OT to TCU. That's not a bad loss.
I believe Oklahoma State should be higher than 4.
Oklahoma State probably should be 2, in my opinion.
At least 3.
Cincy, about the same spot.
Don't know what to think about Cincy because they haven't played anybody.
Yes, UCF, about the same spot, but 5-1, right? BYU is 12th in the super ranking order in the league, but we have them at 7. Okay, so there's a big difference.
So you put them at 9 or 10.
Baylor is 3-3, but 18th in the super ranking composite.
So where would they be if would Baylor be 2 or 3?
Baylor would be 3rd, according to the super ranking. That's where metrics, again, I like data points. It's not everything, but it's certainly something.
Okay.
But Baylor probably should be in the middle of the pack instead of towards the back.
Would you have Baylor ahead of BYU, though, because BYU beat Baylor head-to-head?
Probably, but at this point, you got to look at everything. It's not just the head-to-head. It's like, well,
yeah, and then Texas Tech beat Texas head-to-head, but like, how are you as health? Like, how's your health as a team, quarterback, things like that?
And yes, I credit you for winning, but in double OT on the road, you lost, to a team that's been in the top 25 for a lot of the season. It's like, that's not a bad loss.
You know what I hate more than anything? I hate not seeing BYU ranked in the top 25. I hate that.
It's annoying to not be in there
guess what?
With this group.
If we're being frank, for BYU to get back in the top 25 again this season, for BYU to make the college football playoff top 25 that comes out in early November, they basically got to win out.
Yeah.
You got to win 5 straight games, be 9-3, and then they'll probably get in around 22 or 23 in the college football playoff top 20.
I think 8-3 could perhaps sneak in, but not at 7-3.
Right before they go to Stanford, do you think maybe at 8-3, like they're back in?
Is BYU in the top 44 though? That's the real question.
Yes, they are in the top 44.
Are they?
Well,
BYU's 55 in the super ranking.
That Notre Dame loss
that's just a thing I
stinks.
made up to call those 7 metrics composite.
How does Notre Dame lose at home
Music
to
ending,
Stanford?
we have to move on. Okay.
How does Notre Dame lose to Stanford?
Yeah, that was disappointing. That was disappointing. Stanford, winnable game. Let's go. Well, you got to play defense. So. Get all your BYU sports content, including game shows, Deep Blues, all in one place. BYUSN.com.
BYU wide receiver Kody Epps is on a record pace for a freshman season at BYU. He's balling and is the spotlight today for our Top 5 Tuesday. His top 5 plays of the season to this point next on BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Welcome to a partnership where customer experience comes first. It's our focus. It's your expectation. We provide support to those that go the extra mile for all of us. Supplying products, training, and service for generations. Learn more at BradyIndustries.com.
Let's kick off AFR on BYUtv.
What they did in that fourth quarter was not unexpected in my book.
Everyone did their job perfectly, and it resulted in, obviously, a touchdown.
Who knew that he had these kind of hands?
And right at the snap of the football, they both go right downhill. And that was the end of that. He knocked him down pretty quickly.
Ten seasons going from never knowing to finding answers. Wondering how you belong to finding where you fit. 10 seasons of questioning what might have been to embracing a bright future.
I was able to put a big piece of my family together.
I was getting answers that I had been wondering about.
On Relative Race, new beginnings, new adventures, new connections. Stream a new season of Relative Race, Season 10.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
You demanded it, and we gave it to you. BYU Sports Nation's on demand. Download free BYUtv and BYU radio apps, and subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast.
Let's go Top 5 Tuesday with the top 5 plays from Breakout wide receiver, a freshman, keep in mind, Kody Epps.
He's a dude.
BYU's first ever freshman, by the way, with consecutive games 100-plus yards receiving.
Didn't know that.
How about that?
Didn't know that. That's great. Number 5 at Oregon. Epps' first TD as a Coug, 18 yards on a great throw from Jaron Hall. The game was out of reach, but a nice play to kickstart an awesome 5-game stretch for Epps on that day. Fades into the corner. Boom goes the dynamite.
At number 4, to Saturday against the Razorbacks. 21-yard touchdown, catch and run. Kody Epps into the end zone again as he outruns his defender. This put the Cougars up 13-7. I say 13 because BYU missed the extra point.
Number 3, again, Saturday's game. Power 5 touchdowns. That's what this guy does. 37 yards to Epps. Apparently takes 3 to tango as Kody found his way around that many dudes to get to the 3-yard line and set up a touchdown. Year 3 for this kid, and he is blossoming. It is fun to watch.
He's got that twitch, man. I want him on kickoff returns, Jarom. I want him on kickoff returns.
Okay, I like it.
Number 2, let's go back to Vegas. With Epps' longest career reception to date, 53 yards on the touchdown. It was 25-6. Caught this pass. This was a spark play. This was the play that was like, okay, maybe BYU's got a chance to win this game. This got BYU's offense rolling in the third quarter. Unfortunately, they come up short, but it wasn't because of lack of effort from Kody Epps.
Number 1, an amazing whip or pivot route to burn his defender and get the touchdown at the goal line versus Notre Dame.
Arrow!
Shades of J.D. Falslev in 2012 against Utah State before the
arrow!
Wide open. Like, oh, the footwork. When you do all those drills in the offseason that we like to make fun of, that's when it comes through right there on that play.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now consider that he's coming back from a significant foot surgery and injury, and he's running routes like that.
Now that he's finally healthy, we're seeing what he can do. Amazing.
Well-deserved credit for Kody Epps, and our pleasure to bring you his top 5 plays on Top 5 Tuesday.
More Kody Epps.
Yes, our question of the day. Back to the defensive side. What changes do you expect to be made by the BYU football defense leading into the game against Liberty? Troy Whittle on Facebook says, I expect Kalani Sitake to be more hands-on with preparation, scheme, and play calling.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that absolutely will happen this
If it didn't happen, that'd be weird. Of course it's going to happen.
Our elite voice of the day presented by PAX Healthcare Elevated comes from Clyde Livingston on Twitter, who says, I expect at least 1 third down stop in the second half.
What?
In fact, I guarantee it. There's a game day guarantee. I'm mailing it in for you, Jarom.
How did I do, by the way?
Down stop, 2 for 3.
Oh, I got 2 for 3. Sweet. And one was the kickoff? Yeah. Because
2 for 3.
Yeah, because
I was
BYU
1 for
35.
3.
By the way, first game BYU's lost under Kalani when scoring 35.
I hate that stuff.
BYU was 27
at home.
Yeah.
At home. Today's Rise and Shout Out presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics. How about to Tyson Shelley, who currently leads the TPC Colorado, repping the Y after scoring birdies on his first 2 holes. BYU leads the tourney by 2 strokes as a team.
Okay, let's go. BYU's got a nice group, some good young players. Like, every one of those guys feels like they show up at some tournament, right? And when they put it all together, they're really good.
They are dangerous. Our thanks to today's guest, Dave McCann.
Sorry to Dennis Pitta. We ran out of time. Conversation continues 24/7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. This and all of our shows are on demand on BYUSN.com.
For Jarom Jordan, I am Spencer Linton. Shout out to Margin Hooks as well. We'll see you tonight on the BYUtv app for After Further Review at 7 Eastern, followed by BYU Football with Kalani Sitake. Go Cougs!